Lesson 3.6. What we're going to be doing in lesson 3.6 is we're going to be solving equations that have decimal numbers either as the answer or decimal numbers in the actual problem. Now, what this means is we are not going to do anything different to solve these equations than we did in 3.1 to 3.4, okay? We still use inverse operations to solve. We don't do anything different at all. What you do need to know in order to solve equations with decimals is how to round. So we're going to do a very quick review on how to round decimal numbers. Now, this should have been something that you learned back in probably elementary, okay? But we're going to do a quick review. First of all, in order to do a review of a number and how to round it, we need to talk about what the parts of the number are, or is, okay? What we've got first is the number in front of the decimal is always called your whole number. The number directly after the decimal, or in the first spot right here, is called our tens. The second number is in the hundreds. Third number is in the thousands, 10,000s, and it goes so on and so forth. Now, we're not going to keep going because in this class, we're really only dealing with whole numbers, numbers rounding to the nearest tenth and rounding to the nearest hundredth, okay? In order to round a number, we need to know, first of all, we've got to look at the number after, you see where it says after right here? The place that they have asked you to round. So if they ask me to round to the nearest tens, I look at the number in the hundred spot. That number in the hundred spot is going to tell me, does that number in the tens spot stay the same or go up? And how I know that is if it is 4 or less, stays the same. If it's 5 or greater, it bumps up. For instance, something very common that you guys probably do all the time is grades. If you have an 89.6 in my class, what grade do you have? 90. A 90, because that 0.6 rounds that 89 up. But what if you had an 89.4? It stays the same, 89, because it's 4 or less. Does that make sense? Okay? So in these first two problems right here, they want us to round to the nearest whole number. Well, what is my whole number? 6. So I've got to look to the number after the 6 to tell me what is it going to do to my 6. Is it going to keep it the same or round it up? What is that 4 going to do?
Stay the same.
Stay the same. So my answer rounded to the nearest whole number is 6. What about the second one here? My whole number is 9, so I look to the 7. What does that 7 do to the 9? Makes it a 10. Round to the nearest whole number. There it goes. It bumps it up because it's 5 or greater. Now, what about rounding to the nearest tenth? Noah, what number in this first problem right here is in the tens spot?
4.
The 4. So what am I going to look at, Javon?
7.
The 7. What is that 7 going to tell me to do to the 4? What is it going to do? Round up. So my answer, round to the nearest tenth, is 6.5. What about the next one, Isabel? What number is in the tens spot?
The 7.
The 7. Okay. And what am I going to look at? What is it? The 2. Very good. Does that 2 tell me to keep the 7 the same or bump it up? Keep it the same. So my answer is 9.7. Now this last problem right here, round to the nearest hundredth. Anytime you are doing a test or a quiz for me, you will always round your answer to the nearest hundredth. Okay, did everybody hear that? My go-to is always round to the nearest hundredth. That's usually what I do. It gives us a good idea of what the number is. So, Lily, what number here is in the hundredth spot? Yes, in the hundredth spot.
It says 7.
The 7 is in the hundredth spots, and so what am I going to look at to tell me where to round? The 8. And what does the 8 tell me to do to that 7?
To raise it up 1.
Raise it up, so 6.48 is my answer. Okay, so this next number here. What number is in the hundredth spot?
2.
Tanae? 2. And what am I going to look at? The 3. So, Carissa, what is my rounded number going to be? 9.72. Perfect. Okay, does anybody have any questions about rounding numbers? All right, so I said all that so that you would know whenever you are solving an equation, you usually round to the nearest hundredth. I wanted to make sure you understood that. Now, you don't need to write this whole word problem down. We're just going to write a model or an algebraic equation so that we can solve it. So let's listen to what this problem says. It says, you and two of your friends. How many people are we talking about here? Three. Because it's you and two of your friends. So there's 3 people total, are going in together to buy a birthday present. The birthday present costs $57.67. About how much will each person have to chip in? Round your answer to the nearest hundredth, because obviously when we're dealing with money, it goes to the hundredth spot. How could I write an algebra problem to solve this equation? First of all, let's talk about what I know. I know that there are 3 people. Oops. I know that the gift costs $57.67. And I know we want to find out how much to pay. But do I know how much each person is going to pay? No. So that's my variable. Cost per person. So how could I write a math problem to show me how I could find x? Bailey? So we're going to write x is equal to, how am I going to write it? Am I going to write 3 divided by 57.67, or am I going to write 57.67 divided by 3? The second one. 57. So 57.67 divided by 3. Okay? What do I get once I divide? Who can tell me? 19.22, and then it goes 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, repeating. So they want me to round to the nearest hundredth. Caitlin, what is my number going to be rounded to the nearest hundredth?
19.3.
So this is my number in the hundredth spot, so I look to the 3. What does the 3 do? Round it up or keep it the same? Keep it the same. So my answer is $19.22 is my cost per person. Okay, so that's how we would write a model. Now what we're going to do is we are just going to solve an equation. So in these problems right here, all they want us to do is solve the equation. This is no different than what we did in lessons 3.1 to 3.4. But we want to round our answer to the nearest hundredth, because when I solve this, I am not going to get a whole number as an answer. So I need my calculator out. I need it ready to go because we are going to need to solve it. Okay? We are going to add 32 to both sides first because I need to combine like terms. So we add 32 to both sides. Then what's 99 plus 32? 131. So I have 26x is equal to 131. Now, Noah, what am I going to do? Divide by 26 on both sides. Exactly right. So we're doing the exact same thing that we're used to doing. Now, this is where it's going to get a little bit different. What is 131 divided by 26? Bailey?
It is 5.03845, and the 384615 is repeated.
Okay, so we've got this number that comes out in our calculator, and a couple of these numbers are going to actually be repeating, but they just want us to round to the nearest hundredth. So, Marley, what number is in the hundredth spot?
3.
The 3. So what am I going to look to tell me what to do to the 3? The 8. And what does the 8 tell me to do? Very good. We're going to round up. 5.04 is our answer. Okay, next problem, we're going to do the exact same thing. Christian, what am I going to do first on this second problem? Perfect. Add 39 to both sides. Then I have negative 38x is equal to what? 157. Rachel, what am I going to do now? Okay, look right up here at this thing. What would you think I would do to solve this? I don't need the answer, just want you to tell me what to do. Perfect, exactly. We're going to divide each side by negative 38. What's 157 divided by negative 38? Andrew?
Negative 4.13157894.
So this is what your calculator will tell you. They want us to round that answer to the nearest hundredth. So Darshan, what number is in our hundredth spot? 3. So I'm going to look to the 1, and what does the 1 tell me to do to that 3? Keep it the same. So my answer is negative 4.13. Last but not least, we're going to take problems that actually have decimal numbers in the problems, and we're going to solve for the variable. Again, I keep saying this over and over, but nothing changes. We're going to follow the exact same steps that we do anytime we solve an equation. Just because there's a decimal in it does not mean anything changes. So the first thing I want to do here is combine like terms. Somebody tell me, what are some like terms that you see here? Christian?
9.92x and negative 7.28x.
Perfect. 9.92x and negative 7.28x. What should I do to combine those like terms together? How would I get one from one side to the other? Tanae? Okay. I can subtract 9.92x and combine it over here with negative 7.28. Now, how many of you thought that maybe we should add 7.28x? Guess what? If you do, our final answer should be the exact same. It does not matter which step you do first, okay? So now we're going to add, I've got negative 6.13 is equal to 5.96. And then what's negative 7.28 plus negative 9.92? Negative 17.2x. Noah, what should I do now?
Combine 5.96 and negative 17.
Okay, are they like terms? Are 5.96 and negative 17.2? No, they're not like terms, so I can't combine those.
Subtract negative 5.6.
Very good. I'm going to subtract 5.96 on this side so it cancels out and move it over here to combine with its other like term. Negative 6.13 plus negative 5.96 is what?
Negative 12.09.
Very good. Negative 12.09 is equal to negative 17.2x. Now what am I going to do? Desmond?
You won't do a division.
Very good. Division. Negative 17.2 is what I'm going to divide with on both sides. Negative 12.09 divided by negative 7.2. What is x equal, Christian?
0.72.
Did you round that for us?
My bad.
Is that our rounded answer? Yes, it is. Because what did you see in your calculator?
0.7029.
Very good. The number directly after the 0 that I did not write down was 4 less, so it did not affect our number. Now, let me ask you this. Could I have dropped this 0 right here and just said 0.7?
Yes.
Yeah, it would have been the exact same thing. All right, last problem that we're going to do today. What should I do first here? Lauren? Combine like terms, and what does that mean I need to do? Very good. I can subtract 3.58x to move it over so it combines with 0.23x. Now remember this, whenever we're doing problems with decimals, please make sure that your decimals are very easy to read, because if you just put a quick dot, I might not be able to tell it's a decimal and it might be wrong. Negative 37.40 is equal to what? Negative 3.35x plus 8.32. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to subtract 8.32 to both sides so that it cancels out. And I get negative 72 equals negative 3.35x. Then I'm just going to divide both sides by negative 3.35. And what does x equal here? Somebody tell me exactly what you see in your calculator. Darshan?
13.64776119.
Okay, we can stop right there because what is my answer going to round to if I'm rounding to the nearest hundredth? 13.65. Perfect. Okay, that is exactly how we solve equations using decimal numbers.